Hello, and thank you for joining me today. This is The Eyes of Light. Today I'm going to give you a brief overview on how to apply wires in stained glass. When determining what wire to use, you need to determine the gauge. Gauges range from 14 to 20. I use 16. It's right in the middle and holds its strength without being too hard to manipulate. After determining the wire gauge, using a pair of pliers and vice grips, stretch the wire to accurately create wire ties for the window. Be sure to have a strong foundation when stretching the wire in case the wire slips out of the pliers or the vice grips during this process. After the wire has been stretched, using a pair of old lead dikes or a similar type of plier, cut the wire in a predetermined length. Here the size length is 6 1/4 inches. Using jaw pliers, pinch the wire just off center and fold upward on the longer side of the wire. Be sure to push straight into the plier head. Pushing out at an angle will cause the wire to bow out of shape at the pivot point. When done correctly, your wire tie should now look like a V. When the V shape of the wire is formed, flux is applied to the pivot point of the wire tie. There are several types of flux you can use. Here a flux paste is being applied for ease of application and control. After the flux has been applied, a bead of solder is soldered into the pivot point of the wire tie. This helps the application process of the wire tie to the window when applied. Before applying the wire ties to the window, a straight edge is used to determine the straight line in which the wire ties will be placed. Several joints are marked depending on the applicable areas and the weight of the window. Now that the usable joints are marked, flux is applied to help the wire adhere to the lead. Using a 100-watt iron, the wire is pressed into the lead joint. Here the wire tie is opened up and the iron is pressed into the middle of the pivot point of the wire tie, melting the existing solder and adhering it to the window. Be sure that the wire sinks into the lead joint. Repeat this as many times as necessary. After all the wires are done, use a rag to wipe any of the existing residue from the flux that was applied. Flux that is left is acid-based and could potentially erode the lead if not cared for. Additionally, brushing the area around the wire with some whiting will help remove oils and will shine up the surrounding glass.